This episode of Nintendo Pow Block is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support Nintendo Pow Block and the Boss Rush Network, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Boss Rush Network and see which tier is right for you. Thanks for your continued support. Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Pow Block here on Boss Rush Network. I'm your host, the Enlightened Excited Eddie V. Joining me is the one, the only bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Edward. How are you?
I'm doing fine. We had an interesting Friday conversation through text and over the phone, I should say.
It was a interesting experimental time for I'm just gonna throw this out here. AI is happening, and I've been playing with some for a little bit, and I'm just gonna go out and say that it is cool technology that is extremely scary. I'll just put it that way.
Yes, it is.
Anyways, yeah, I went through and told it to, based off of small descriptions of everybody, what do they look like, and I sent everybody what AI thinks they look like, and some of them were accurate and some of them were dead on to the point where, I did my family too, and my son pointed at all the pictures and told me who every single person was in each picture and was exactly right. So,
wow. Besides me and you putting in our names.
Yeah,
that
too.
That one was very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, that's something. But anyways, that was the fun time.
Yes, it was exciting to see what AI could do, where you tell something, and we're gonna have a talk about that in future expansion pass.
I do wanna say real quick too, though. It's scary how none of those pictures of people were real people.
Yeah,
that might be the scariest part.
Exactly. Yeah. But we're gonna have a interesting discussion about AI and Nintendo for a special pass, so you guys can check that out. Maybe sooner than later. I should say. We have thoughts. I should say. I could, everything. But yeah, dude, I've been on. This is my third day of vacation, birthday weekend, and I've just been enjoying it. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be going to Chicago. I was going to go Friday, but there was a change of plans because of the weather, so I'm going to go this Monday. But by the time you guys see and hear this, I have already went, but I'm going up to the city to walk around, check some places, go downtown. It just kind of like enjoy myself. Maybe hit up Grayson if he's free here or there. If not, then that's fine. But yeah, my plan is to go out to the city of Chicago again and get some walking and get some good exercise.
I mowed the lawn. That was my exercise.
I put house owner LOL. Hey, yeah, it's got to get done.
Ed, my monitor is really stressing me out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm having this has nothing to do with the conversation we were just having, but it's for those who don't know, I have a dual monitor setup, and my monitor on the whatever this side is, the right side of me, is it just keeps flickering for some reason, and I don't understand why, and it's making me really angry. But So if I randomly turn my camera off in the middle of the episode to adjust some things, it's fine. It's fine.
Yes. Of
So,
course, I'll rent if need to. Uh, you
well,
know.
I mean, I'm just gonna stand up. I'm still gonna be here. I'm just gonna stand up and unplug some stuff from my computer, and then, you know,
Yes. This is for the video people. If you're here audio,
yeah. If you're an audio person, nobody cares.
yeah.
But
Uh, which we ended up having a discussion about nicknames and everything, and I haven't found my ghetto mother or ghetto woman, which I probably am going to find out by somebody about Corey and Cornelius, because I just like, how does that happen? I just like, I've never heard that, and maybe it's because there's not a lot of Cornelius names in my area. And so it's just it's kind of weird, and it was a really good, um, really good talk about that, I should say, or text messaging, I should say, about
was it?
that. Yes, because I like how you said we could just be having a normal conversation. Somehow you just throw the wrench into a fire. No, like wait, what?
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I was just like, I know.
Well, you asked me. We were having a nice conversation, and then you asked me one of the most ridiculous, obvious answer to a question, and you think it's like the hardest question ever decided. And I'm like, I don't know how it works, man. Like, where does the Y come from? I don't know. That's how you shorten people's names.
Well,
I
it
don't
was
know.
because they were just like, how does Cornelius get into Corey?
C
That was,
O R Y. That you shorten people's names with a Y.
but how?
What do you mean why?
Because I was just like
How?
Cornelius Corey, because Corey is a
I don't know. In the name
regular.
William, when somebody calls you Willie, where's the Y come from, Ed?
I don't know neither.
Oh my gosh. Just I'm not having this conversation again. My head hurts too bad just
I'll
thinking
just
about it. Nope.
I'll just say it was a fun, interesting conversation. That's
It's
all I was saying.
I mean, just I don't know, man. Keep going.
That so it's just I would say the history of nicknames, everybody, it's an interesting. I think if you go and research, you may find some great things. But at this time, we're going to get into some housekeeping, because you guys can find us on Patreon. You can also find our website and our YouTube. If you want to support Nintendo Pow Block and the Boss Rush Network, you can head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, where you can get our supplemental show Expansion Pass 2 weeks early and ad-free, and other perks like early access to other podcasts, voting rights, and more at the tier that's right for you. Again, that's patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. So,
Hmm.
yes.
I think I know what the problem is, and I just don't feel like dealing with it.
Okay.
There's too many things plugged into my desktop computer, and it's when I got this desktop, 4K monitors weren't like big. I mean, they weren't like a thing really yet, and so the USB-C power to HDMI is not strong enough to handle a 4K monitor at
Mhm.
60 hertz with 7 other things plugged into this computer. So the power needs redirected elsewhere. And so I think that's the problem, because when I unplug things, it stops.
Ah.
So I unplugged my. Oh nope, it didn't stop. Neat. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm just gonna go outside and break this monitor when I go out when the show is over. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Well, maybe talking about some Nintendo will make things better.
Hmm.
And everything.
Questionable. I don't know. Probably
Well,
not.
you never know. You
I
never
know.
know.
I know.
Well, everybody, how about we get into Nintendo? Corey, what have you been snacking on?
Well, my nephew had a birthday party this weekend, so that was fun.
Oh,
And we had Casa del Rio delivered, or not delivered, catered, I guess would be the correct the correct word. Um, and yeah, so I had that 2 days in a row, and it was delicious.
you was making your own burritos or just
No
tacos?
tacos, and their crunchy shells are so good, though. I have to say, top tier, top tier.
Good, good.
So
All right. Well, for me, I went to, of course, my favorite Chinese Japanese restaurant, Tisuke's, and I got beef ramen. This time, it's just so good. I'm like, excuse me, everybody. They make everything just so right. I like this this base that they use and just the noodles. I actually ate the egg first because it was just like it was in the broth and it just had all the juices in it. I'm just like, let me eat this first, and it was really good. uh Actually got some snacks from them. Right now they're in strawberry season, so a lot of their candy and cookies and stuff contain strawberry. I got some Japanese bread with apple in it, but I haven't ate it just yet. I'm saving it for dessert later on tonight, to eat it. But I got some white chocolate candy bars. I started seeing that appear, and they are is really really good. It reminds me of the Nestle Crunch white chocolate bars. They used to have some of those kinds, and not so much the white chocolate cookies and cream one. Not those. This one is like just straight white chocolate. Like it's so pure and everything. And they come in different designs, and you could just break a piece off and eat it, and it just melts so good. I am a big fan of white chocolate. I know a lot of people don't like it. In fact, a lot of people don't like chocolate in general. That's becoming kind of popular with some people. But like white
those
chocolate is
people are
just
weird.
white chocolate is like one of my favorite chocolates. Definitely, man. I before I met you, Corey, Dunkin' Donuts used to have this white hot chocolate, what was the best, and they stopped selling it at a point in time. And I was just like, why did you guys stop selling it? It was like when it hit the winter time, that was my drink of choice, and people started catching on it, and it just started getting popular with the white hot chocolate. It was our suburban drink, I should say. But I'm like, uh, it just the flavor stuck with us, and it was just a nice balance of heat, of hot chocolate, white hot chocolate. So, definitely that. Bought a box of fortune cookies because I've been in the taste for some fortune cookies. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I had some Pizza Hut. I got ham and provolone sandwich from Jersey Mike's. So second Sunday doing Jersey Mike's. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That I ate. Actually, one last thing. I actually there's a place called Silo. It's like a family Italian uh restaurant. They do different kinds of pizzas and stuff. One of their popular main dishes, like their thin crust cheese pizzas. So I got my team that night. I got them some thin crust pizza, and I got like a pan pizza, like a 6-inch supreme. And it was really really good. I'm like, man, I haven't had their pizza in a long time. So it was just really good just to order from them, pick it up, and then share with my team. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, I think I know there was a Walgreens that I been to that had the fried pickle with ranch Lay's chips. But I'm probably gonna go to a grocery store. Probably when I go to the movies Tuesday. Probably go to Woodman's, the grocery store that I'm close by. When I go up there to Kenosha, I think I'm gonna pick it up there and give it a try. Uh, and stuff. But yeah, pretty much that's all I have been snacking on. Which was surprising about the Japanese. I'm sorry, right? The Japanese market where I got my like snacks and stuff with the fortune cookies and everything. They didn't have no Nintendo candy there. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So maybe maybe because of the seasons and stuff that's changes in Japan, um, they also do it at their markets and grocery stores, changing stuff. So it's kind of just very interesting to see. Uh, but yeah, that's what I've been snacking on, everybody. So Corey, how about it's time for Play with Power? And I, yes.
I wasn't saying anything. I was just preparing myself. Am I not allowed to do that on the show? Is that not allowed anymore?
No, you just like gasp, and I'm like, oh, huh? What, did I forget something? Did I do anything?
I mean, you probably did do something, but that's
Who knows?
it's not it's now's not the time for that.
Well, I'm gonna start this playing with power. Because I
Congratulations.
so I ordered like a dragon, the latest game that came out, and I still have it in the box and stuff. I got to install it on my Series X, but that was the game.
This isn't playing with power. It's installing with power with Edward Varnell.
No, I'm just saying.
Purchasing with power. Never playing with power with Ed.
I'm just saying that I got it, so I'm gonna start that in a couple of days.
Neat. Driving to the
Because
store to buy games with Edward Varnell.
no, I actually
Driving
had
with power.
so I actually had to have that sent to me through mail through Best Buy. So
Purchasing with power.
so but I did play Far Cry 3. Um I'm gonna be playing a little bit more. I'm gonna finish it up Monday night for Series X. Just have some more fun with it. Um and then like for my Nintendo Switch, playing more of After Image, and it's a weird game. It's a weird Metroidvania, I should say, because it has multiple endings, and you're not really getting the full story. Because sometimes you could get to a boss, beat it, and then the game ends or it's credits and stuff, and then they'll drop you back in, give you an item, or just be like, nope, this is one of the endings. Here's something here. Here's another ending that you can probably get fighting this boss. So it's getting very weird in a sense. I am using a guide for this, like a YouTube guide on some of the stuff that I'm missing, just to see what this game has to offer and how do I get into some of the areas, because I found out that, well, this game is from 2023, so it is from last year, but it's just a weird odd game, and like I really can't get into the story, um because I don't know who's good or who's bad, or like all I know is,
That's what you have to play for. You're supposed to play and find out.
well, I'm trying to, but the story is just everywhere. So there is no clear kind of, because there is like voice acting, but there's no cutscenes or something. It's just like you to get two pictures of the characters, and then you get dialogue with voicing to it, and it's just like, okay, God, Ifri, Ingarden, God is a woman. Uh, am I fighting God at some point in time? I don't know. It's just, huh? Okay, I guess. So I like I said, I'm playing. I gotta play more of it. I am finishing up Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Apollo Justice. Not sorry, Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney. I am finishing up the third game. I only got like two more cases, and then I'll be done with that game, and then I'll start on some more first party Nintendo stuff
Mm.
that I need to get through. Um,
I need to. I want to. I really want to play another Code Recollection, but I don't. I haven't purchased it yet. I don't know what I'm going to. That speaking of Nintendo first party,
Uh yeah, I
it's
just
getting
pre
really hard to find already.
oh shoot, yeah.
It's like selling for over MSRP on eBay already. So like if you guys want to buy that, buy it now because I mean it's not like extremely over yet, but it's
Yeah.
getting there and it's like I don't know. Um
Yeah, bet
that's gonna be one of those games for the Switch that's gonna be really hard to find in a collector's item in once this generation is over. You watch.
yeah, Best Buy there is already like can't even buy it
I know.
anymore.
I know. I wanna get it and I just haven't bit the bullet mostly because we've been moving and like
Mhm.
Destiny's coming out and like that's going to be $100 that I don't have but I'm going to buy anyway. um
Yeah, so
yeah.
yeah, I actually just um so I just purchased like pre-ordered my Paper Mario 1000 year bomb cyber bomb or bomber cyberpunk. I just ordered for physical. That's not coming until later this month. And then Uridan Chronicles, the physical. I'm not even getting into May yet for
Well, yeah,
Switch.
well they delayed the Switch version. So,
But I'm assuming everybody's going to get the digital version this
well they
week.
if you're a backer you get the digital version for free because of the Switch delay. So, like if you ordered the Switch physical edition, you
Yeah,
get the digital version for free up front, which is nice.
yeah. Well, my physical is coming from Best Buy, so
Yeah. Well, you're not going to get a digital version.
yeah,
It's only for Kickstarter backers.
yeah. Okay.
So,
So, because I know it'll be hitting Game Pass, uh,
mhm.
this week.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't really care about that game, I'm not gonna lie. I want to I don't know. I man, there's no time. There's no time to do anything. I don't even start games anymore because there's no time and it's like why bother? You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my gosh. Like even when I don't have anything to do, I have a ton to do. You know what I mean? Ugh, it's frustrating. I mean, I gotta never mind. Keep going. Sorry.
yeah. No, that's fine. So yeah,
I'm
I
rage quitting like that guy. The one, shoot, I forget who it was, but
he's been
some developer, the head of I don't know. There's supposedly something going on with a developer, and Kotaku was about to break a big story on them, and he just randomly shut the studio down.
what?
Yeah, I forget what the story is. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about it, but you can go look it up. It was uh ex Undead Labs founder. It was his second new studio and then he closed it. Their last day was a Friday. Like effective immediately close. Your last day of work is here. Whatever.
Oh wow, I didn't hear nothing about that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I wonder is that why was Kotaku just trending again? I wonder if it's because of that story.
I don't know. I hate Kotaku. I can go suck a fat one. But they were about to break some sort of weird story, which I don't know. Story in quotes because they never say anything real or important. But um, I don't know. This guy was apparently scared enough that they were going to say something. So
He
I don't
tried to
know.
shut it down.
Like I guess he went to the publisher, whatever publisher they were dealing with, which I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are pointing at Microsoft, and they pulled funding for the rest of the game because of what was about to happen, I guess.
Wow. So all those employees that
Yep. It was 52 employees.
just lost their job. Just
Hmm. Hmm.
wow. And Kotaku, I guess, did the rep. Like you said, if you guys want to see it, look
I
it
mean,
up.
it'll probably be up this week if it's not up already. So, yeah, it was quite the thing. I heard it on another podcast that they were talking about it. I mean, people are just out to ruin other people's lives, I think. I'm not gonna lie.
Pretty much.
That's why After Dark exists. I air all my dirty laundry there, so you can't ruin my life.
True,
Anyways,
true. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. I actually took off Hellblade, Sienna Sacrifice, because there's some other games that I brought on Xbox. But
people are mad at you about that book club, by the way. Patrons are.
Why?
Because you didn't say her name correctly, and then you just made up a name for her because you didn't know how to pronounce her name.
Oh, Senua?
Yeah.
Oh, they'll be fine. You're not gonna die.
Yeah. Wow. Why is my thing yellow?
So Corey, what have you been playing with Power?
I really haven't been playing much except for Destiny. Because Into the Light has it's been an interesting kind of rollout for this. Not everything is out for it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's coming out on the 30th, which is there's a new like boss rush raid boss rush mode coming out called Pantheon. And basically you just go through these portals and you fight the different raid bosses from different raids without going through the raids themselves, which is like, well, I guess that's cool, but it's like it's supposedly harder and a little bit different than the actual raid bosses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It sounds like a cool mode, but I don't have 6 friends to play with, so it doesn't matter. Um, I mean, I do. It, I can only play at specific times, and I don't feel like asking people to adjust their schedule to fit mine, so I just don't do it. You know,
Oh.
it's just a thing. But I would love to raid more. That's my favorite thing to do in Destiny. I never get to do it anymore because I just don't want to ask people to adjust their schedules to mine.
Oh.
Um, but I've been playing a lot of Into the Light, and it's been fun. It's a little um it's a little I don't want to say hmm, I don't know how I want to say this. I'm really enjoying it. I think it is a great mode. I wish there's a little bit more to it um than what's going on with it. Just
Mm-hmm.
because like I think I don't know, I think it would benefit from um just being a little having a little bit more variety in terms of, I mean, essentially what it is, for those who don't know, it's a raid, it's a horde based mode. So it's anybody familiar with Gears, or if you're a Splatoon person, the salmon run mode,
Yeah.
essentially what it is, right? It's just that. And like, you fight off waves of enemies, you collect scrap, which is your currency, and then after every round you can like set traps or set up turrets or deploy decoys or stuff like that to help you kind of defend this they call it a battery. And so you have to defend this battery from waves of enemies. There's a 10 wave mode and there is a 50 wave mode, and the goal is to get through the entire wave based thing. And if you do a good enough job and your score is high enough, they give you a bonus round at wave 51, which is you just have to kill as many tormentors as you can in the time limit, which are like the big brooding kind of new enemy that came in to light with Lightfall. um and so it's really fun. I They brought back a bunch of old weapons also from throughout Destiny's history. with new perks and new roles and random roles and craftable and stuff like that. And they also brought back a couple of the exotic missions. And then, like I said, they're bringing that boss rush mode in called Pantheon at, in a couple weeks. And then it all goes away on June 3rd once the final shape comes out. So I'm pretty excited for the final shape. I am very interested to see how this ends and how it begins again, because I have a couple theories. I have quite a few theories, actually. Well, I don't want to say I have quite a few theories. I have two theories, and one of them I have kind of convinced myself it's happening, even though I know it's probably not. But I just want to say that time travel plays a lot. Time travel and alternate timelines play a huge role in Destiny. And the Vex kind of control time, and Elsie, who is one of the characters in Destiny, is a timeline jumper. And yeah, I really think something is going to happen. And then everybody that plays Destiny knows, like, the time conflux exists on Venus through the Black Garden and through the Vault of Glass, which was the very first raid that they released for Destiny 1. So,
and I'm assuming this is supposed to lead probably into Destiny 3. I'm assuming.
Well, we don't know yet. We know there's going to be from a supposed leak, and take it obviously with a huge grain of salt. There is not going to be a major expansion next year, which will be the first time in a long time where they haven't released a major expansion in some sort of annual cadence. The theory is that they're going to release 3 more episodes next year, which this year they're releasing 3 episodes after the final shape instead of seasons. They're calling them episodes. And then next year they're going to release 3 episodes. And then that would lead into probably a smaller expansion the size of Rise of Iron, which was the last expansion of Destiny 1, which was a very, very small expansion that they made in about 8 months because Destiny 2 got delayed. That would serve as an epilogue to this current saga and a prologue to whatever the next saga is that would lead into what was discovered called Project Payback, and that is some sort of version of Destiny 3, we think.
Okay.
So, but also they're probably taking a year off from major expansions, because once the final shape is released, it's going to be all hands on deck for Marathon, which is supposed to release at the time a Destiny expansion would release next year. So, so I'm sure they want to make sure Marathon is not broken when it comes out.
Well, yeah,
I mean, this expansion was supposed to come out in February, so
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with Sony and Bungie in the future. I think that's the concern a lot of people have.
I actually think a lot of those concerns have been negated somewhat, because the big joke is they unvaulted Luke Smith in the Destiny community, because like they vaulted all that content. They called it the content vault. Remember when they took stuff out of Destiny 2?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen Luke Smith since they did that, and the big joke is that they unvaulted Luke Smith, and he's going to give a presentation sometime after the final shape, because the 10th anniversary of Destiny is in September. And there's going to be some sort of 10th anniversary for Destiny kind of event going on, and I think they're going to kind of explain how episodes are going to work, because we have a general layout and a general knowledge of how they're going to what's going to happen with them, but any story details whatsoever are probably spoilerish for the final shape, so we really don't know what they're about. Um, and then we'll probably get some sort of breakdown of what the um, 10th anniversary event's going to be.
It's so weird with that number because I always thought that their plan was Destiny, just the first one was going to be 10 years of content. And
Well,
then around this time, Destiny 2 would be dropping.
no, the original plan was for them to um, have 4 games out in 10 years was the original plan. So,
Okay.
and people are kind of looking at it like, okay, well, Vanilla Destiny was supposed to include the Taken King, and that was supposed to run for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny 2 was supposed to come out the year that Rise of Iron came out, and which it was supposed to, and then it got delayed a year. And then Destiny 3 was supposed to come out around the time of, I want to say Forsaken, but I don't know if that's true or not. And then Beyond Light was supposed to be Destiny
Before.
4. This is from the Activision leaked documents from like a long time ago, so you can look
Mm-hmm.
this up. This is all public knowledge. And then it was supposed to be, Beyond Light, the Witch Queen, and the Final Shape. We're supposed to end Destiny.
As a series, right?
As whatever, yeah, as whatever
Well,
their original plan was supposed to be, right? And
me.
so,
Okay.
um, and then Lightfall wasn't even supposed to exist. Um, the they split Lightfall, they split the Final Shape into 2 campaigns, which the first half is Lightfall and the second
Mm-hmm.
half is the Final Shape, and then all the seasons in between that took place um, between Lightfall and the Final Shape were kind of thrown in. I don't want to say at the last minute, but like they were not really planned to come out the way they did. Um, and so that's why I think some people thought some of the seasons this year were not up to par until Season of the Witch, which was the best season by far, in my opinion, this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Season of the Wish, which is now. And so,
I know I need to download it. I think I just need to go download the digital version since it's free.
well, there's no physical version. So, yes.
Because I still had the Destiny 2.
Well, that doesn't work anymore. So, you might as well just use it as a
Well,
coaster or something.
well, that's why I was wondering. The physical versions that we brought.
Yeah, they don't work
Uh,
anymore. None of that content on the disc is even in the game anymore.
well, yeah, but I mean, just to get the game installed is what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying.
Well, you might as well just download the
That's why I
base
said
version and then whatever expansions you own.
right. That's what I'm saying. Just the
Mhm.
digital version. I might as well just go
Yeah,
that route now,
yeah,
and everything. Since they made the game free, I should say. Um,
yeah. It's the Destiny, the very 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 base version of Destiny is free to play. So,
yeah,
um,
because I got the expansions. I didn't get the last one though. Uh,
Lightfall. Yeah, it's even though the man, it's so. I don't know. We don't need to get into it here. It's just Destiny is the way it's structured is very weird. And if you miss seasons now, you're like, the story just won't make sense to you.
yeah. But I knew they took out the original Destiny 2 story because I already beat that
Yeah.
campaign.
Well, they also took out arguably the most important part of Destiny 2, which was Forsaken, which is the most, if you want to be up to date and wonder why these characters are in the places they are, like, you know, Cade is dead and Aldrin is the crow now. So like that whole expansion explains that part of the story. But if you jump into Shadowkeep, you have like it just
Mhm.
throws you in to that.
Right.
And then like if you miss the seasons in between, you don't know that like Aldrin, well, the crow is like his story is really interesting because he's the only guardian right now that we know of beside that we know his past,
Yeah.
right? Because like when you are resurrected as a guardian, you have no memory of your past, right? And nobody knows really who you are, right?
Yes.
You're just born. You're just like born again. You have a new life. You have a new identity. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows your past because a lot of them are just like hundreds of years old, right? I mean,
Yeah.
1,000 years old in some cases. If you look at the Iron Lords and stuff, and Shacks, and you just read some lore.
I wondered of
But
that one guy who does the Destiny videos. Uh,
Bife, yeah,
yeah, he probably has the breakdown. Shout out to him because his videos are amazing.
he's making a um the entire story of Destiny before the final shape video. And he tweeted out about 2 weeks ago. Um, he had a 52-page script so far, and that's just on the story before Destiny 1 starts.
Dang.
So I'm very excited to see what this video is. I hope it's like 12 hours long.
It probably is. He'll probably break it up in parts, I think, like
Yeah,
chapters and
yeah,
everything. Yep. Ever since you told me about it and I watched his videos, not only is his voice is calming,
mhm.
but I just like that. I'm like, goodness,
He has
this
a
is
good storytelling voice.
yes.
It's like because he's, for those who don't know, my name is Bife is his his nickname on Twitter is Lore Daddy, and it's really funny. But he basically does like lore. His main thing now is to do lore videos on Destiny. That's what he's known for. But he also does like Warframe lore and
Mm,
lore for, I think he did Monster Hunter lore at some point. Like he does a bunch of lore videos. But he's mostly known for Destiny lore now. And like but what he does is like he takes the lore that's in like the grimoire cards and the lore, like every weapon in the game has a description, and that description is part of the lore. Every piece of armor has a description, and that description is part of the lore. Every voice line from NPCs in the tower, across the game, in strikes, in multiplayer, like all those voice lines are part of the lore. And so what he does he has a small team of people now. He has for years that like research and put it all together, and then he kind of, I mean, he also does it too, but you know what I mean, like
yeah.
they kind of put it together, and um he ends up just explaining the lore of what all this stuff is. Like right now he's going through the lore of all of the weapons that have returned to Destiny and why they're returning, right?
Mm.
um and this will be the last part of Destiny, I promise everybody. I know people get annoyed when we talk about Destiny and we talk about Xbox on Nintendo Pow Block, but but the thing is now is like most of the weapons that have come back during this event, this Into the Light event, were quote unquote content vaulted. They were sunset. They were part of that when Destiny was sunsetting weapons, and then people revolted, and then they were like, oh, never mind, we're not going to do that anymore. But these are all weapons that were part of that, most of them, or just part of Destiny's history of weapons. And the whole one of the perks you can get on all these weapons is called Desperate Measures, and it's like it's an awesome perk. It's just like it makes the gun more powerful as more enemies surround you and your health depletes, and it just makes the weapon more powerful. It's a really cool perk, and you can kind of like pair it with
The
other things.
balance.
Um,
Yeah.
but the lore is these once banned weapons are now desperate measures to fight the witness, and that's why one of the perks you can get on them is called Desperate Measures, and it's really cool. And then he like breaks down like why they were canonically stored in the vault, and
Hmm.
why Shax, who's like the who kind of runs the arsenal, and he runs the Crucible, right? Like he trains Guardians to fight better. That's the lore of the Crucible is that Shax runs the Crucible to train Guardians. Um, and like why he put these weapons away and why he's bringing them back out, and like why each weapon is important for a specific purpose. It's really fascinating.
His
And
breakdowns are just so good, man. It's just
yeah.
so good.
Uh,
Um, so
and then like he did like a 30-minute video on the new subclass that's coming out, which is like
oh,
mixing all of the subclasses together, and why canonically, like to the lore, that subclass is probably going to be the only subclass we have moving forward, and it's really fascinating.
oh, nice.
And like from a lore perspective, it totally makes sense based on what we think is going to happen in the final shape.
But we won't know until this summer.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
yeah.
so good.
I will say, if we're going to get into family news, I think it's good that the final shape is releasing this summer. Because I think it's going to fill the summer void of games. So people like still catching up on backlog, or after they get done with Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion or whatever. Even Hellblade 2, Sienna Saga,
Senua.
Senua. Sorry, Senua. Um, I think I called her CC. I don't
You
know.
did.
Oh, okay.
You did.
All right. So, Senua, Saga. When people get what? Did I say it wrong again?
Nope. I'm just posting some social media for tomorrow. That's all.
Your head is shaking though. With all of these games, after they come out in May, I think it's going to be good that Destiny is going to take most of the summer for people to get through games, and I think it's going to bring back the community. It's a good filler for June to August, depending on how they release the content from that. So that's all I'm just saying.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.
But we're going to get into family news. Corey, take him away.
I guess I'm not playing anything else. So family news, everybody. Let's see here. Sorry, I gotta open this up here. So recently, it was found in an update to the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered that in one of the locker rooms, the pinup posters of Lara Croft are now missing. And some people are very upset about that. So that's this is where we're at with news, everybody, this week. That's not the only piece of news, but I thought it would be a funny one to lead off with. We actually have a pretty big news story later, but it's kind of weird that they were there and now they're not. Like, if they weren't there at first, okay, whatever. Or, you know, if they just left them there, okay, whatever. They're part of the original game, whatever. But to have them there and then to remove them seems strange. What do you think, Ed?
I do not remember those pictures in the game at all.
I remember them in Maxim magazine when I was like 13.
So yes, Maxim, yeah, because I used to subscribe to Maxim at one point in time. I had another subscription to another book, another magazine, and it ended. So they moved me to Maxim. I think it was something. I think it was EGM
it was
no.
Game Now or something.
Yes, it was EGM's.
It
was EGM's.
Because when some magazine turned into that, right?
Yeah.
And then it ran for like a year or a year and a half, and then they were like, "Oh well, this magazine's not going to exist anymore." So
so EGM 2 was their guides and stuff and everything. And then I ended up subscribing. They changed the name to Game Now because that's when I got my Windbreaker and all of my like other subscriptions and everything. And so when I subscribed to them, I still had a 2-year deal with them.
that's what I did.
So So when that magazine ended, they switched me to Maxim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. The first issue I got had who was on the cover? Somebody was on the cover. Someone I had a huge crush on, but that was like, I don't know, when I was 13. That was probably like every other actress and model. And oh, it was Anna Kournikova, the tennis player. That's who it was.
Oh,
Oh,
and Maxim was fine. It wasn't my kind of book or anything. Like, I mean, I would read the articles here and there, check out the fashion, but it was just like, I know this is like a man's man kind of book, but it did nothing for
yeah,
me.
it was PG-13 Playboy. That's what it was.
I guess.
Maxim,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, totally PG-13 Playboy. It was full of models, it was full of advertisements, it was full of like men's like things that traditional straight men would be interested in. Um and it just didn't have the porn. It just
I just Yeah, I was just like, oh, I got my other Maxim. So I would look at it, put it to the side, and then be like, ooh, my Game Informer and Wired came in. Science and games. Yay.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
sorry, but I'm a weird person, I guess.
But I do remember the Maxim cover that had Lara on the front
Yeah.
of it, which was like a big deal, for a lot of reasons, I guess. Um but yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think like, look, I'm all for like people, people being equal and, whatever, but it's just like, women women are allowed to be sexy, okay? And not that like I'm into like these traffic cone boobs or anything, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just like this was part of the time and like part of the game. And I don't know, censoring games like this, especially from a time like this, right, is like, does anybody really care? Honestly, like, does anybody really care?
I I
You know,
really I really don't. I mean, I understand why they did it because you like you said because of the ties and stuff. Um, but I'm like, it
it,
was
it's
to
just
me, it was never part of the game. I just didn't care. I didn't look. I didn't go on my way of finding it. I was having fun playing the game.
I mean, yeah, well, I wasn't having fun playing the game because the game isn't very good. But I I just think it's like, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a jerk, so I'm not going to say much, but I think this is a little bit too far in terms of like the game industry trying to be the social justice equalizers. I didn't want to say social justice warriors because that makes me sound like something else, and I don't want to be that. But like, just, I don't know. I think it's a little bit too far. I think like, I don't know. There's just so many double standards of like, we have all these like we have all these anime girl games like that have like 14-year-olds in skimpy outfits that people are like, she's not 14, she's 1,000-year-old wizard witch that, just stays young forever. And it's like, okay, well, she's 14 and you're looking.
Yeah,
And that's okay. Or like, nobody's forcing Platinum to change Bayonetta, right? And everybody's excited for Stellar Blade, but you can't handle this. Why? You know? Is it because she's British and not Japanese? Like, is there some sort of weird Japanese fetish thing going on? It's just like, I don't understand like the double standards for all of this. You know
I
what I
think,
mean?
like I said, I think it was just a period of his time, and
Yeah.
I think that the company made a decision to be like, hey, this is not necessary or wanted or needed. So let's just remove it and take it out.
Yeah. And like if this wasn't in the remaster to begin with, it wouldn't bother me, right?
Yeah.
And if they kept it in, it wouldn't bother me. It's the fact that it was there and they went out of their way to go through their coding and go through their art assets and take it out of the game. through an update. That's like Aspire has several thousand problems, and that's what you're telling them to do. um, and I understand that like Tomb Raider is in a very different place now, and like
Mm-hmm.
the image of Lara has changed in the
Yeah.
last 30 years, and like this version of Lara that's kind of present now in the current Tomb Raider trilogy and even the Legends trilogy is like way less like about the sexualization and more of the empowerment and the strong female lead, and you know what I mean, like that, and which is amazing. I think this is the I think Lara is one of the most underrated characters in gaming right now.
Yeah.
And I really hope they continue with this version in a fourth game, right? This character specific, this version of Lara specifically.
For the reboot.
Yeah. hmm
Yeah.
Um, but I just think people need to understand that this was a different time in video games, and that like to kind of go out of your way to change it because somebody said something is like,
And I think
I don't know.
I'm assuming because it is under Amazon's name.
I doubt
Uh,
it. Have you
I,
seen
I'm,
some of the stuff Amazon has put on Amazon
yes,
Prime? Okay.
I know, but I
Okay.
don't know if Amazon also just
Amazon's not paying attention, dude. They don't care about games.
That's what I was gonna say. Well, I was gonna say that, but I was wondering if Amazon had any part of it because they own the Tomb Raider franchise.
No, this was a Crystal Dynamics decision. So,
Mm.
because for some reason, Crystal Dynamics has the power over the game development of Tomb Raider. The IP is just owned by Amazon for some like other media or something. I don't know how this is all working. This is
Oh,
all very
okay.
strange, and I don't know how to. This was a Crystal Dynamics decision. I don't know the entire kind of structure of who owns which parts of the IP,
Yeah,
but people as of this recording are pointing at Crystal Dynamics
Dynamics.
that made this decision.
Okay. I was just saying Amazon because I thought they owned the whole
Yeah,
IP in
they
general.
have. Yeah, I don't know how
It's
that's
kind
working
of
right
weird.
now. I don't know. Embracer messed everything up. They just.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It is what it is. I didn't even know that it was in the game. I just didn't even try to go
I
out
mean,
and
the
find
fact
my way.
the fact that people still want to play these games in 2024 from gameplay alone is baffling to me. But that's
And I'm shocked that they found it. I'm like, this game been out since February. Y'all now just finding this? Okay,
whatever.
great.
People are people.
Good luck and God bless. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Jeez. Oh man, good times though, right? People. Anyways, all right. Our next story. I forgot I was reading Family News. I was copying and pasting descriptions of the games that are coming out because I forgot to do that. So Aiden Chronicles is coming out in just a few days.
Mhm.
Except for your Switch physical versions. But they are seemingly moving ahead with a sequel, despite the creator's death. Remember, the creator passed away a couple months ago at this point.
Yes.
Uh, but they are going to move ahead with a sequel. Quote, "We are moving forward with a sequel. It is very sad that Murayama is not with us anymore, but we have discussed many things with him. I hope we will be able to carry on Murayama's legacy, and I always want to treasure his last work. I hope many people will support this game." So, but I mean, first of all, reviews kind of seem all over the place. I don't know if you saw the Metacritic thing going around where like
No.
the
So
game has like an incredible score on PlayStation, and then like the Xbox version is not good, and then the Switch version is terrible.
I
For some reason.
have it. I seen Stealth post some reviews. I know Famitsu gave it 38 out of 40, I believe. Um, so I haven't seen like the Metacritic just yet for it. Excuse me. So I really can't tell. I know for this game, I think they was planning for a sequel. I think they was planning for 3 games already. Um, because this was a kickstarted project. I know, and I believe Sony and Microsoft got the funding. Like they met that goal for that, and then people were
Well,
just like,
Microsoft gave them money for Game Pass. I know that. So
okay. Was that after that the game met its goal,
I
or
I have no idea.
uh,
I have not been paying attention to this game at all, so I don't know anything about this
it's
game other than it's a spiritual successor to
so
Suikoden.
we could yeah. So it when it got announced that I know it was a Kickstarter, and then Microsoft kind of had the rights for the marketing, because when it showed up again, it was in at one of the E3s or Summer Game Fest, I think
Hmm.
2 years ago or something, and we know that it was coming to Game Pass because we didn't hear anything about it besides that it made its go. And when people was asking, can this game come to Switch, they told them that it wasn't in the plan unless they made unless they put a tier up for people to make it. So they ended up putting that tier up for the Switch version, and they met that goal. I think in a couple of days or something. So then that's when it started coming out that all 3 platforms were getting it. I know it was designed for Xbox. Um, with it, I think PlayStation came later. And everything. So when they said that they were trying to get it on all 3 platforms because they met their goals, that was the last thing I heard of. And so it ended up getting delayed at a point in time, but Microsoft still had the rights for the marketing, so they did all the announcements and everything. So now that we're at this point with the game coming out, uh, we know that it's a Game Pass exclusive.
Well, it's
For
not a Game Pass exclusive.
I mean, well, yeah, I
It's coming
mean,
to everything, and
well,
you can purchase it on Xbox. So it's the opposite of exclusive.
well, I'm just I think it was just I'm just saying Game Pass exclusive to that it's only on the Xbox console. It's not on PC.
It is on PC.
Did they announce it for Game Pass
It
Ultimate?
it's on PC. It is on Game Pass for PC. Yes.
Okay, so I that's why I said Game Pass exclusive because I thought it was only on console. I didn't know that the game was coming out for PC or anything.
Mm-mm.
Because of their goals, which is only for console. So that's why I say Game Pass exclusive for console. With that, so I guess now I think it's just the digital versions coming out, and uh and like Nintendo's going to get the last of it because like I said, it wasn't even planned to be on Nintendo at all. It wasn't even planned to be on Switch. So until they made that go, so uh, I guess I have like I said I haven't seen the Metacritic or anything, but I think they was planning to have about 3 games planned for this because their that beat 'em up role playing game came out first. Um on all platforms because it even came on Switch. Uh, and now we're just waiting for the full game to come out.
Yeah.
So,
Um, yeah. So I mean, I think the prequel to this, that beat 'em up you said,
mhm.
is still on Game Pass or something. Maybe I don't. I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. So if you want to see what it's not the same type of game, but it is
No,
part of the story. So if you want to check it out,
yeah.
um,
Uh,
go ahead.
I know, but just for the Metacritic, I'm assuming that PlayStation has the eight. I guess it's in the 80s for PlayStation
Yeah, it's
or
like an
something.
83 for PlayStation, a 70 something for Xbox, and then like a 54 for Switch,
Oh wow,
which is like really strange. But
which I understand because um they focus more. I think the Switch version got the least treatment because they were trying to get it ready for Xbox and probably PlayStation, the more powerful machines. So with Switch, since it was like a last, last afterthought, because of their Kickstarter, I pretty much feel like they probably held development off for Switch, and then they'll just start patching it and putting in some updates to get it running better and stuff. Um, but like we shall see in the future what happens, because I really feel like there any development time that's coming to Switch, I think that's going to happen uh after the game is out for a couple of months. I think they're going to hit the once Xbox and PlayStation get patched. I think they'll start working on the Switch version to patch that up, um and then do like a big drop for it
Well, I
because
mean, it's not out for the public yet. It could be patched. There could be a day one patch, and then you know what I mean. Like it's,
mhm.
I don't know, man. I just stop listening to reviews unless I really trust the people, because it is. I don't know. All these places are just SEO farms now, and they just want their clicks to have a job the next day, which from a job perspective, I get, but also like, relax.
Yeah. I mean, but we'll see how the sales went, because the thing about it is just um I think Game Pass is going to have the player base because it's on the streaming platform and they don't have to invest that much money. Then since they got that service, but we'll see what happens with PlayStation and what happens with Switch, because if a lot of the sales come from Switch over PlayStation, then that's going to tell that company, oh, we need to fix the Switch port quickly, or we're really going to be losing sales. Because everybody who heard about it, they wanted a Switch version of this. They was expecting this game to be out on Switch because of how many people love the Suikoden series, and a lot of JRPGs are on Nintendo Switch that does well, that get it notarized, and stuff. So we shall see what happens Friday.
Yeah.
And pretty much, I think if they learn from this lesson, hopefully the sequel that they're working on will be in a better position. Um, because I think it'll probably be out for. I think it'll still be out for a Series X and S and PlayStation 5. Um, if Nintendo's new system should be out by then, by the time the sequel comes, I have a feeling that that will be a part of their of that console too.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. And if the game is okay, then fine. Which is so weird because, man, for me, and we're gonna move on to the next story, that this game, I'm getting my physical in May, but then Visions of Mana is dropping, which I got to pre-order once the pre-order physical pre-order drops for Series X. Like, I'm waiting for that one to drop at Best Buy so I can pre-order, because I really feel like Visions of Mana just gonna be, this is the, I feel like as an RPG fan and a lover of the Meta series, for me, this is a big win for Series X. I'm not even worried if that game never comes to Nintendo. I think this is a game that Series X, truly Xbox, really need. Because I feel like they need a RPG to stand out, and I think this game would definitely do it for 'em.
Hmm. Yeah. All right, Ed. Let's get to our last news story here. It's probably the biggest story. The Indie World Showcase happened. Shout out
Yeah,
to Cordy Yikes, who did a reaction video for us, and it's up on the channel now. And then Mary Helen did a breakdown of the Indie Direct, so you can check that out on bossrush.net. But a lot of games were announced and are coming to Switch very soon. So there's some interesting games on here. Um, I'm actually really interested in the Way Forward Yars Rising game.
yeah,
I was like, man, they really picked the right studio for that, huh?
yeah.
But that game looks cool. That game looks really fun.
Lorraine and the Laser Eyes, I need. Europa, I definitely need. Oh, that game looks so beautiful. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Europa's
yeah.
been announced for like 2 years. Like I feel like this game has been floating around forever.
So I think I just found out about it because of the indie direct. It may be something that did drop in name wise, trailer wise, and I just haven't seen anything about it or anything. And maybe that's definitely on me. Um, it's just I thought there would be some updates and something that people would be talking about and everything.
Yeah. So that was I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing. I was just kind of watching the trailers of the games that were announced.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people are excited for this Ninja Turtles roguelike that's been out on Apple Arcade for 5 years. But, maybe not that long, but it's been out for a long time. But people legitimately thought this was a new game, and I'm like, no, guys, this
No.
has been out on Apple Arcade for at least 2 years.
It
Um,
looks like a mobile game, just the way that it's seen. Like,
yeah.
okay.
And people are trying to get me to play it. I'm like, no, it's a roguelike, not playing it. I am not playing it. I don't want to take anybody else's fun away because I know a lot of people like those, and TMNT is a popular franchise, and I want people to
Mhm.
enjoy it, but I will not be enjoying it. So sorry. I have also, side tangent. There are 3 Ninja Turtles games coming out within a 3-month span this year, or like a 5-month span or something
Uh-huh.
ridiculous. It's that weird arcade, not arcade game. It's the game based off the movie from last year.
The Mutant Mayhem. I think that's out. Is
It's it's not out yet. One of them is coming out this week. I think it's the arcade game. We'll get there when we get to what's coming to the
it?
coming
Okay.
out this week. And then this is coming out in July. So I have to say I do like the character designs in this trailer though. Like I think the character designs in this look good.
I think Target has the last Ronin. And I think it's 30% off.
What?
The
Huh?
last Ronin.
What about it?
The turtle they have it's 30, I think it's 30% off on Target.
What?
Started today. The graphic novel.
Oh, why are we talking about the graphic novel? We're talking about the
Oh,
showcase.
I know because you mentioned Ninja Turtles and
Oh,
stuff,
oh,
and so I that came to mind that when you mentioned it, I was just like, oh yeah, the last one I forgot. I just seen it in an ad. I'm like, man, I think I need to go snag that.
I feel like
Like this.
I feel like I thought I blacked out and like we were like 5 minutes ahead and like there was a different conversation happening. I was like, what is happening? Where?
Oh, sorry, sorry, didn't mean to.
Oh,
Uh, uh, but yeah, I will say overall before we get more because we do have a question about it. Um, I I kind of felt like this indie world direct really felt like kind of casual in a sense, like uh, the stuff that came the wholesome games one. I kind of feel like that was what I was getting out of this direct, which wasn't bad or anything. But that's kind of how I felt about it. Like I think for the first half of it, it really felt like casual gaming. Um, like I said, which is not a bad thing, but I'm like, oh, there wasn't that. It didn't feel that much diversity was in it. Um, so I
didn't
think this one was definitely towards casual gamers. Um,
oh man. I also my timeline was so full of sad Silk Song people and it was glorious.
oh yeah, which which I which I said. I think
There's
Xbox
nobody.
got that marketing.
They do. Nobody's paying attention. It was revealed. Silksong was revealed in a Nintendo Direct.
Yes,
Microsoft now has exclusive marketing on that game, everybody.
yes,
So that
yes.
means whenever their next Game Pass presentation is, or Inside Xbox, or Direct Developer Direct, or the
The
Summer
Summer Game
Showcase,
Fest. Yeah.
it's going to be shadow dropped on Game Pass during the Summer Showcase. and then it will be available on the other consoles.
So yeah,
This is what happens when people just don't pay attention to the games that they love. Like if they really loved Silksong that much, if there were that many fans, people would know that. People just like to complain that Silksong's not out. I bet 50% of the people at least that are complaining that Silksong's not out aren't even going to buy it.
well, I think Silk Song is like the number one anticipated indie game, or like almost on the level of Metroid Prime 4. Like it's on that level. I mean, for some people in the community, they are on that level because you wouldn't get that many complaints about an indie game at all. If you're seeing all of that on your timeline, that shows you how much anticipation people are waiting for this game. So that's the kind of level that it's on. But I knew Silk Song wasn't going to be there because of Xbox showing it in their showcase. And if we're seeing a lot of content coming out on the Xbox side of things, then we know that yes, it is coming to Nintendo. So people just have to wait. It's just that the game cannot be shown off because Nintendo doesn't have the marketing. They don't have that because that developer and Xbox have a contract on a marketing part
Yeah.
of it. So
Plus it's day one on Game Pass.
Game Pass. So I'm like, you're going to be able to play and buy the game if you want to. I think more people are just upset that we're not seeing any content or any information about that game being revealed, and because it is Xbox and it feels not gated in a sense, but because they know that Xbox doesn't release a lot of information and content for people to know about their games and stuff, that they're being held back from seeing any kind of progress on the game. They don't know if the game is finished or anything. Like people want new details and information about their most anticipated indie game. Um, you know, it's the same way that how Hades 2 is. Hades 2 um doing like kind of a beta test and only a few people got it, and then other people are getting invites and everything. But like nobody's been talking about Hades 2 unless since it's dropped in
Well,
the
it's
sense.
because
Like
it's the test. They probably can't really talk about it though, right? I mean, that's kind of like
right.
I don't
And
know.
it's just like why do PC players get it and not everybody else get it like other consoles? I'm like, well, they're only testing it. It's
Yeah.
only a test. So it's not like
Betas
it's
are
a
easy.
demo.
Betas are easier to run for smaller teams. Betas are easier to run on PC only.
Right.
It's just
So
it's just how it's built. It's just how the storefronts are built.
and it's being used to collect data, from players. And at least, and the other, that's why people are just like, can we stream it? And they're like, yeah, this is our policies about the streaming. If you follow them, you should be good to go. And people's been streaming it. I haven't seen anything about it, but like, that's why, uh, it's just a test and stuff. Like, but nobody was talking about Hades 2 after it got announced.
Yeah. Well, that's because nobody was playing it. Nobody got in except for like very quote unquote important people. So
Well, I'm talking about when the game first got announced. I think it was at the Game Awards or
people, what are you
something.
talking about? People were going nuts over it.
Well, they was going to nuts over it, yes, but there hasn't been any information about Hades 2 until this playtest came out.
Okay, well, you don't talk about games there's no interest any news about?
Right,
Well, you
so
do
that's
because
why
you're weird, but
well, yeah. Well, but I mean, it's the same thing with Silk Song in a sense that I know people are anticipating, but there hasn't been any news. So expecting this any direct to have news about the game, uh people just had high hopes because it was a indie direct. It's Nintendo, and if there's any place that you're going to get an update for an
it's
indie
gonna be a
game,
direct.
it's going to be a direct. And everybody feel like if it's going to be a Nintendo direct, indie direct, that's where you want your game to be showcased and announced. And if Six Song was going to be there, everybody would have went crazy because now people could talk about the game and have that remembrance that yeah, this game is looking good. I can't wait to play. My anticipation to go up. Oh, it's pre-orders. Okay, let me pre-order it. But it's nowhere to be found. And people are not saying getting tired of waiting, but they probably are. They're not getting tired of waiting. They just I think people just don't know that it's under Xbox Mercy. So anyone who's going to have to talk, it has to be Xbox. And people who are fans of it don't want to wait for Xbox to say anything about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's a couple of cool games from this. Yars Rising, I'm excited for. I think Europa looks cool. I know Pat is excited for Cat Quest 3. I'm shocked that
Yeah,
SteamWorld Heist 2 got announced because didn't the last SteamWorld game not do very well?
it did it. Um, but I think a lot of people, but it still has a community for it for the Steam World games, and they got some stuff planned. I think they got like 4 or 5 games planned for the Steam World series.
Well, this is the 6th one, so
Yeah. Um,
um,
But Corey, we do have a question from Cordy Yikes. She asks, is it fair to consider Anton Blast as heavily inspired by Wario World and Pizza Tower, or are indie games like this simply drawing inspiration from existing works in a creative way?
um, I don't know. I didn't watch this trailer, so I don't know. Hold on, let me watch it real quick.
hmm So,
This
uh, this is while Corey is look watching the
Oh,
trailer.
this looks like that weird Wario Land game from Wii. Is what this
Yeah,
reminds me of. What was it? Shake It, Wario Land Shake It was that game, right?
yeah.
That's what this looks like. I mean, sure. I mean, this looks interesting. I don't know what Pizza Tower is, so
It's kind of the same thing. Like
no.
uh
Okay. Well, wow.
So, well, like for me, I think this kind of genre stuff is nothing new. It's a different take on the endless runner. With it being in 2D, um, like you kind of you kind of got this in like older video games, and stuff, and um, I
To do that.
like I kind of it's a faster version of Sonic's 2, um bonus stage in a sense, where it's
Sonic
just
2
a
bonus stage.
where you're on this like two thing, and you're jumping and running, and you're going through all of this motion, and kind of even like Sonic games too, where you're going fast and you're going through a path, jumping in and rolling and stuff like that. So I really don't think like I could see the Pizza Tower influence for it. Um, but I don't think it's like copying Pizza Tower or anything. Or stuff. I could see the inspiration between or, Wario and Pizza Tower, but I think it's just doing something on its own um with it. And a lot of indie games do that. Uh they'll see something, or they'll try to create a game in their own vision, or take that idea and create a game in their own vision and put their own spin to it. Like we're just seeing a trailer of it. So it could offer something different that Wario World and Pizza Tower don't offer um for it. So I think they're doing their own thing for it. Um it's almost just like that one game that everybody said was a Cuphead ripoff, um and everything.
The one game that was a Cuphead ripoff. Game was
Uh
I forget what that game was.
yeah, I don't I think it
I
I
know
don't
what
know.
you're talking about, but I don't remember what it was, and it wasn't even hand drawn, which is why people were mad about it. I think.
Yeah. And so it's just like you get a lot of games like that. Um and everything. It's just I think when these indie developers have an idea of a genre or of a game, they they take elements that are familiar, but also try to bring a new spin to it. So, um, I just say that they're simply drawing inspiration from existing works in a creative way, um, basically. Um, but you can see some influence, and you could notice some things that are be like, oh, not reference, but oh, I see that, and that's something that I like. So maybe if I play and get this game, it would give me that same feeling, that same enjoyment and excitement. But oh, they did a different twist on it. That's cool. So I'm just gonna say for the second one that simply drawing inspiration from existing works in a creative way. Because every time I look at it, I just think of Sonic 2 bonus stage. But just faster. Um or I just think of a Sonic level when you're running like kind of fast. And not so much the 3D ones, even though it has that flavor, but like the Sega Genesis 2D ones, you were running fast through some areas at a high speed and you had to jump and stuff. Now, you really want to go back and see stuff like that, Battletoads, really. And Battletoads was a nightmare to get through
No,
when the game was
get good.
Oh goodness. I would love to see you play Battletoads. I will buy you
Battletoads.
I will buy you the latest Destiny bundle at whatever price it is.
I already
To
bought
see
it,
you.
so you
I know. I'm just using
empty
it as
promises, Ed.
I'm just using it as an example. I was just saying that I would have bought you
You can
the
buy me
latest.
that. Dude, if you bought me the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Collector's Edition, I would totally play Battletoads for that.
Okay, if I could sit down and watch you play all the Battletoads, I would buy you that Xenoblade Collection 3.
All of it? Oh man, I don't know if I can make it through all of it. I thought you just meant the bike stage.
Well, that bike stage is a nightmare.
No,
That and that snake level is a nightmare. And I'm not talking you can't use any game genie. You have to beat it pure skill.
Oh man, I'm skilled. Dude, I beat the turtles timer level. I can beat a
Oh, in the sea.
Yeah, I did it.
Oh,
I think I did it twice in my entire life. And I was like, I'm good. That's enough.
I
Turtles
beat it.
Exist.
The furthest I got into Turtle Sea, we're back to Turtle Talk. The furthest I got to was actually getting to the Technodrome.
What a game.
I kind of feel like I may have to install my Turtles collection and go through that game.
Turtles collection. That's another game I want to go through and play, and I just haven't done it yet.
Which is weird. It's $29. It's $30 still. Oh no, it's $25 on the quick version.
You better buy it. Did you see it's being delisted in some
Yeah,
some territories?
I brought it. I got the physical version for Switch, but it's like $19.99 physical for Xbox. I'm like, I might have to snag that.
Just saying, if you guys want Turtles, you better buy it now because it's going to get delisted.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's my answer. Corey, back to you, I guess.
Well, that's all the news we have today. Before we get into Pack Watch, I didn't know where to put this, so I'm just going to put it here. Ed, it's the 35th anniversary of the Game Boy.
Yeah,
the original Game Boy.
Yeah,
it is arguably one of the greatest consoles of all time, in my opinion. I absolutely love the Game Boy. I think my favorite handheld console. I know a lot of people love the Game Boy Advance, and obviously the DS and the 3DS are great, but I think my favorite handheld console Nintendo's ever put out is the Game Boy Pocket. I love the Game Boy Pocket.
If we're going just for the Game Boy series, I mean, I like you said, I love Advance, I love DS. I think Game Boy Color for me, because my first Game Boy that I got for Christmas, the D-pad stopped working, so I couldn't really go go down. I had to do something, and I don't know why I messed up. But when I got the Game Boy Color, man, all the games that I had, Tetris, Link's Awakening, this is even before the DX version, Pokemon, like it all felt like a new experience playing it on my Game Boy Color. But man, the first Turtles on Game Boy, like if I'm just going back from Game Boy, man, the first Turtle game on Game Boy was everything to me. Pokemon, um, Super Mario Land, Super Mario Brothers 2, the 6 golden coins was everything. If you was a Nintendo gamer, you had to have that game. Um, like it literally was a must. Like I said, Link's Awakening. Um, I
Yeah,
know
but
some people.
Link's Awakening's on Game Boy though.
Yeah,
I guess you could talk about the color version, but
but that's what I'm saying. If we're just sticking with the original Game Boy, like Link's Awakening was the game because of the Legend of Zelda 3. You know, Link to the Past.
mm-hmm.
Um, like it was just a new, different experience, for me. But I remember like the Game Boy, even though I had my Nintendo and my Super Nintendo and playing all of those game stuff, my Game Boy was my nighttime gaming. It was like, okay, I'm gonna throw on Montel Williams on.
Wow.
I'm gonna listen
Are
to
you
it like it's a
trying to make
podcast.
babies with that Game Boy? Trying to make more Game Boys with that Game Boy? Or girls?
No, I was listening to Montel Williams, the
Jeez.
talk show, um, and then uh, um, like the 10 o'clock comedy shows would come on, and stuff. And I knew like at the 10 o'clock, at like that 2 hour time spent, I was going to bed at 11 o'clock at night. Everybody, I couldn't sleep. Um, I would get my Game Boy out and I would play that mug. Like, and then when I didn't even ask for a Game Boy for Christmas, my mom literally surprised me with it.
Yeah.
And she got me Super Mario Land, and I lost it. I once again, everybody, when I tell you, I used to disappear when I got my Christmas gifts for games. I disappeared. You would not hear from me for the next umpteen hours until it was dinner time,
Heads
or I
down.
was going to the bathroom. Man, shoot, dude, side tangent. Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3. Oh, I disappeared. Mega Man 2 had me gone for almost 3 whole days. I like I was I would do I man I would like even get paper out to do my codes and stuff. Like I studied Mega Man 2 and then Mega Man 3. Every time I got to that dragon, it was beating my tail, and I was just like, okay, I need to figure out how to get through this. No, that was Mega Man 2 still. But Mega Man 3, I ended up learning up and down also. And I actually beat that Christmas day. But I was gone for 6 7 hours focusing on that one game
Mm.
and everything. But like Game Boy, yeah, I was carrying that thing around me. Besides school, I never took it to school. But if I was going to the mall, if I was going on vacation, if I was going to my grandma's house, my Game Boy came with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my Game Boy came with me everywhere too. But I mean, it was more like it was Tetris, it was Ninja Turtles,
Mm-hmm.
it was Link's Awakening, and I still have my Link's Awakening. I had the DX version though. I didn't get Link's Awakening until the DX version. I have it. It's on my shelf back there. I have my original Game Boy box sitting on my shelf. I've always wanted to display it. The screen doesn't work anymore. It turns on, the screen works, but like a lot of the vertical bars are out, and um, I don't know. I thought about getting it replaced, but I'm afraid that it wouldn't come back. And I'm
There's
not
a
smart enough to do it.
there's a video of a guy fixing the Game Boy. I love his video game like restore systems because he has a little like a little duck and
Yeah,
everything. I'm just like, oh, that's so cool.
yeah.
Like that's his signature thing.
The new thing right now though is people putting new uh LED screens in the um in what do you call it? The Game Boy Pockets,
Uh huh.
and having backlit and backlit screens, so they kind of look like those analog pockets.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. But I also don't want to mess any of that up either.
Exactly.
It's man, it's I that whole generation, the like the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Pocket. Those are the two systems that I do not have the original boxes for. One, I mean, the Super Nintendo I got super late, right? Like I just didn't have I got that used.
Mhm.
But man, my Game Boy Pocket, I wish I knew where that box was, because I was like, maybe I'll go on eBay and just buy a box for it. And the boxes are selling for like $200.
Oh no, the
I'm like,
lies.
no, that's not worth it.
I never had a Game Boy Pocket. I actually
Game Boy, it's so cool. I had the silver one.
So there was a pink rose one that someone dropped at Penny's when I was working at the outlet store, and so I kept it there. I never played it or anything, but I did charge it in a sense. I somehow I had a charger that would work for it, and I charged it, and I played a little bit of it, but I never took it home. I always kept it at the store.
Why, Ed? You're such a disappointment. You should have taken it home.
I no, because I think at that time, I think Game Boy Advance was out at that time, but the Game Boy Pocket was out. So
No, it was the
everything.
Game Boy Color was out. They came out, and the Game Boy Pocket came out like roughly a year before the Game Boy Color, which was weird.
Oh, it was a smaller version. I'm thinking of the flip one.
Oh no, that was the SP.
Oh, okay.
No, that was the Game Boy Advance SP. I'm talking about the Game Boy Pocket, which was literally just a miniature Game Boy before the Game
Oh,
Boy Color.
was that the purple one? No, my
No,
color I had purple, but I had the see-through, the transparent purple of
for Game Boy
Game Boy.
Color,
Yeah.
that's the one that I have still. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one that I got. So yeah, I didn't get Pocket because I had the original Game Boy, and then I went straight to color.
I still played a lot of my games on the Game Boy Pocket even after the Game Boy Color came out.
Shoot, I went from Game Boy to Pocket to the Super Game Boy on Super Nintendo, and man, the difference that mug made on the Super Nintendo, I was just like, "This is life. This is life." And so my Game Boy Pocket, my Game Boy Color was my to go. It's still my nighttime gaming. But when I felt like I didn't want to play none of my Super Nintendo games, I'll throw in my Super Game Boy, uh, and play some of my games that way.
Yeah, man, did you ever have like the big chonky like magnifying glass and the light like made it look like this Voltron thing with the extra
No,
pack?
no, but I seen it. I seen it in EGM, and then I seen it in real life, and I'm like, "Whoa, what the world is this?"
Yeah, I had it for a while. It was
That contraption was insane.
it was something. We'll say it was something. So yeah, that
Yeah,
was fun.
I was 9 years old when I got my Game Boy, my original Game Boy.
Oh, man, I was 3, I think. I got it in 1989. I got it the year it came out, and
Yeah.
my cousin or my grandma got it, bought it off of my cousin who didn't want it. And so I got the carrying case, like the black carrying case, like the mesh
Yeah.
bag with the strap, and had a Game Boy, and I had Tetris, and I had those nasty headphones, the ones with like the red and blue grips around the ends
Uh
to tell you which one was the right side and which one was the left side, even though it was never stereo sound, even though they wanted you to think it was.
yeah.
Um, and then I got the link cable. And then I got Tetris and boxing were my first 2 games. And then my cousin ended up getting me Fall of the Foot Clan, which was the first Turtles game for Game Boy,
Yes.
for my birthday that year, I think, or something. One of those.
I love that game.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Although the third one actually seems the most interesting. which is on the collection, and it's a Metroidvania Ninja Turtles game, which is something I was like, that totally makes sense. A Metroidvania Ninja Turtles game, like in this that takes place in the sewers,
Hmm.
totally makes sense.
I mean, that's something that I would love to see, like maybe a remake or something tried again. Um, in a sense.
Yeah. So that was Game Boy is a special thing.
Yes. And everybody go check out our expansion pass on where me and Corey has done uh the time capsule of Game Boy. Um and just all the games that we talk about and what we will put in that capsule
Hmm.
for it.
Yeah. It was yeah, it was cool. So I love the Game Boy. It's probably the second most important gaming memory of my life, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe third. Maybe third. I I put the Nintendo 64 story number 1 because that's definitely the most memorable for me. And then like getting my Game Boy and then my dad bringing home an Atari at one point, like and playing Kaboom and Combat and Pac-Man and stuff on it. Like those are like the three major gaming moments I feel like of my life that are extremely positive and why I continue to do this are those three moments, I think.
My number one would be my mom buying me a Wii U for my birthday. Um, and I just ended up in tears for it. Uh, and then yeah, it then just and just and then just like getting a TurboGrafx 16 as my first non Nintendo game.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, mine
and
was a
then
Genesis.
uh working at my high school because I really didn't have a job. Working at my high school, DJing money. DJing songs for the basketball games, and then getting a big check and going to buy a Dreamcast
Mm,
before it went out a bit before Sega started selling it.
the Dreamcast. I love
And
the
I
Dreamcast, man.
and I should have bought Jet Set Radio when I had the chance and
Hmm.
didn't.
You should have. Steak on your part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I the Dreamcast, man. What a way for Sega to go out, I guess, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That was I wish I don't know. I don't want to say I wish the PS2 didn't come out, but man, that's the reason Dreamcast died was the PS2.
Yeah, I think my first Nintendo console that I bought was GameCube. The first Sega one was Dreamcast. PlayStation 2 was my first PlayStation that I personally bought. I did my parents got me a PlayStation 1 for my birthday. And Xbox, the original Xbox was my first Xbox. Xbox One is my second, with Series X being my third.
Yeah, I've owned every generation of Xbox. So the Xbox 360 though is still the best generation for Xbox in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Every console from Nintendo and handheld I brought after the GameCube. So um I bought the white Wii and the black Wii. I bought the white one, the Wii first, and then when the black one came out, I bought that and put the white one in my office, my mom's office. Um and then like Wii U I got for um my birthday, and then went out and, and was able to get some games for it and stuff. Um, and then of course Switch, but like DS I brought, um, 3DS I brought, excuse me, uh, and things like that. Uh, yeah,
Video games, everybody, they're fun.
Yes,
They
especially when you
are
buy them.
fun.
Especially when you buy them on your own, and or you have the luxury or ability to get them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I need to add this last question to the doc, but yeah, I think that's all I got for that Game Boy. The Game Boy, everybody. I wish they I wish they would bring that name back. I hope they call the next Switch the Game Boy. That would be awesome.
The
Why is
Game
nobody
Boy,
talking about that?
Game Boy Future or something like that.
Yeah, that's a cool name. That'd be a great name for that. Oh,
Game
so
Boy
good.
Future,
Yeah.
GBF.
Mhm. Man, that'd be a good. Oh man, that's such a good name. Uh, so all right, Ed. Let's get into the Pack Watch. I guess you would call it Pack
Yes.
Watch. There's a lot of games coming out. A lot of interesting games, I would say. There are 3 games on the 23rd. First, Ioun Chronicles: The 100 Heroes. This is the story of a world in a cruel age of death and betrayal, torn asunder by flames of war. 2 men, once friends, both believing in a peaceful future, find each other on different paths, separated by ideology and battle standard. That is the Suikoden kind of spiritual successor that we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen a lot of people who have played it that I know like it. So if you're into Suikoden, um, maybe check it out. Lunar Lander Beyond from Atari. We actually got to play this at PAX, which was really cool. As a newly appointed captain of the Pegasus Corporation, you must guide a roster of colorful pirates, eclectic advisors, and state of the art landers through a taxing series of missions. Deliver cargo, retrieve resources, and rescue stranded pilots as you navigate a mysterious universe of moons and planets. Tales of Kenzara, Zao. This was the side-scrolling kind of EA originals that looks like kind of looks like the new Prince of Persia game, but more colorful and seems really interesting. The young shaman of Amandala, Zhao is a boy stricken by grief. The loss of his Baba brings a heavy toll. Determined, Zhao seeks out the aid of Kalunga, the god of death. His quest is simply said, yet no easy feat, to bring peace to 3 great spirits that have cheated death. So those are coming out on the 23rd. We're also getting 4 games on the 25th, starting with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade, Wrath of the Mutants. Wrath of the Mutants uses the version of the characters from the 2012 Nickelodeon show. The 1 to 4 player beat 'em up sees the Turtles battle the Foot Clan, robots, and more across New York City. So, yeah.
Oh, that's weird. eShop they got it on the 23rd.
Oh, well, Game Informer says the 25th, so I wrote the 25th.
Okay.
It might be coming out on Switch first. I don't know. Whatever. Another Crab's Treasure. In this uniquely colorful Souls-like, Krill the hermit crab must wear trash and shells to survive a dangerous undersea world on the verge of collapse. Hone your skills, defeat lethal predators, and embark on a treasure hunt to decide the fate of the ocean. Library of Ruina. Library of Ruina is a follow-up to Project Moon's Lobotomy Corporation, taking place in the same world and setting. Players take the role of Roland, the self-proclaimed washed-up fixer, hired hands who do any job requiring skills that the average person does not have. Lastly, on the 25th, Saga Emerald Beyond. Saga Emerald Beyond is a role-playing video game in which players will take control of 6 protagonists, navigating a selection of 17 worlds. Characters explore the worlds with which one visited, triggering different events and influencing the path forward. Okay. On the 26th, we're getting Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaba Sweep the Board. Sweep the Board is a digital board game that has 4 players compete either locally or online. Players choose from a large cast of Demon Slayer characters, including Tanjiro Kamado. Man, if you're a Demon Slayer fan, I'm sorry, I'm butchering these names. It's fine. Zamitsu Agetsuma, Yunosuke Hashibira, and 9 other Hashiras. Okay. On the 28th, El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron Remastered. I know a lot of people are excited for this. This was kind of a cult classic on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
Yeah, I've never got a chance to play this game. It's another game that just didn't come to my area. Like, and I checked a lot of stores, Best Buy, Target, GameStop. None of them had this game.
It's going to be a interesting one for sure. I think I wonder how it's going to do, because it's one of those games that people like to talk about, but I don't know how popular it actually is. You know this. You know what this kind of reminds me of? This game came out around the time like the original Nier came out, and like
Yeah.
there was a bunch of like strange action RPGs that were coming out that were all very similar in look and tone, right? Not necessarily how they played, but that it kind of gives off that vibe. So not Nier Automata, Nier, the original
first,
So
the first one.
mhm.
Is this El Shaddai? Oh, okay. So El Shaddai's crib. Who did the first one? Was that X? Was that Marvelous or XC?
I don't know who it was. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea. So yeah, I hope everybody has fun with that. And then so that's Pack Watch. A lot of stuff coming out this week. A lot of stuff that people I think will be interested in. El Shaddai is probably circled for a lot of people. Ninja Turtles. I think I'm gonna pick up Ninja Turtles just to see, because like I think the 2012 show a lot of people really like. And I'm always interested in a Turtles brawler. So I'll probably pick it up physically just to put with the rest of my Ninja Turtles games.
Oh, okay. It was Ignition Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
For El Shaddai, and then the publisher was UTV. Yeah, it was Ignition Games. Yeah, they really had the limited stuff, because this came out in August 16th, 2011. When it came out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Yeah. Yeah, the turtle one, I think I'm gonna wait for. Like I said, Yuden Chronicles, I got physically coming. Tales of Kenzera, I may pick up. I think I'm gonna wait for reviews for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out because I know some people who are working on the game actually. Funny enough, because some of them were at PAX and some of them are just people that I've known for years that have ended up at that studio. So I'm gonna reach out. I want to see, mostly because I don't want another Immortals of Avium situation.
Oh, of course, yes.
Man, that studio, man, they just had another series of mass layoffs. I didn't put it in here because that doesn't really have any relevance to Nintendo, even though we talked about Xbox and Destiny for 20 minutes at the top of the show.
Yeah,
but man,
but
Ascension Studios, man.
But they are working on their next game, they said.
With what team? They laid off 45 people the first time and nearly the rest of them the second time.
That's what the last story that I heard about them before the other round of layoffs. They say they moving on to their next project. So we shall see.
So sad,
that.
man.
Yeah. Last but not least, another Crash Treasure is one I'll read about. I know they were talking about the Souls kind of starter games. Saga Emerald Beyond is I got the demo. I just need to start it. That one is just like I may pass on this one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Ed, we should probably get into question block, huh?
Yes, let's get us a question block.
All right. We have 3 questions tonight. Remember, you can tweet at us, join the Discord, or email us at nintendopowblock@gmail.com. Sam Hall writes in. He asks, "What franchise has the most intriguing future for Nintendo's next console?" Intriguing
Um,
future?
intriguing future. Okay, so
I know my answer.
go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I was gonna say Xenoblade. I'm fascinated to see where this franchise goes because of how 3 kind of tied everything together
Mm-hmm.
and how popular the franchise has become.
Yeah.
Like I think this franchise has the ability to be I think this franchise has the ability to be bigger than Zelda at some point. And I know that that's kind of, very hot take-ish, but I think the characters, the art direction, how popular JRPGs are becoming again,
Yeah.
and how people kind of, I don't want to say they brushed off Tears of the Kingdom, because I know a lot of people really love Tears of the Kingdom, but like I think Breath of the Wild was like the peak for Zelda, and now like Tears of the Kingdom, I think people were kind of like, oh, this is kind of more of the
I
same.
I have, and I don't know if we might have to talk about this on the expansion pass, but I have some thoughts about Tears of the Kingdom and why I think it is still better as Breath of the Wild. And
Well, here's the thing, and maybe we'll talk about this on expansion pass. We're
expansion pass,
recording
yeah,
literally right after this,
yeah.
but I agree with you, but there is a huge asterisk next to it, and I want to tell you why. So let's save it.
Let's save it for expansion pass, yes, because I have a different thought
hmm
about it.
hmm
Yeah, we'll do it for expansion pass.
But yeah, I think Xenoblade, and like I'm trying to get as much Xenoblade like I'm trying to find the collector's editions. I'm trying to get the amiibo. I'm trying
Mm,
to get all of that stuff now because I think that franchise is going to be huge on the next console, and that
yeah,
stuff's going to skyrocket. So I'm actually like actively selling stuff so I can have money to buy the current stuff.
I well, for my answer, I think it's gonna be Fire Emblem. And the reason why I say that, I think Fire Emblem is going back to Koei Tecmo.
Yeah.
And I really think, and this is gonna sound crazy, everybody. I think because of Fire Emblem Three Houses, Tecmo is back to being popular. Like out of all of their games that they have released in this modern era, I think Three Houses is literally their number one game.
Mhm.
From sales, from the way people are replaying the game. Um, it pretty much is. I think it has taken over Fire Emblem Awakening. I think it is the number one Fire Emblem game in the whole series across all platforms. Um, and I just think that, you know, I feel like they're going to get the series again. You know, and I think with the next game they come out, it's a possibility they're gonna match it or top Three Houses. Um,
Mhm.
because who knew that Fire Emblem, definitely from Koei Tecmo, would be a knockout hit after people drag Koei Tecmo for Metroid Other M. Like, so I really think that Fire Emblem, I think that game is going back to Koei Tecmo, and I really think they're going to knock it out the park for their next console.
Yeah, I think the reason why they're going to trust Koei Tecmo with that again,
Hmm.
right, is I think people love Three Houses, like
Yes.
on a Fire Emblem Awakening type level, and even
Right.
probably exceeding that. To be honest, like I think Three Houses changed the way people want to consume Fire Emblem
Hmm.
because it gave it that Persona esque
Yes.
social link system, and not that anything after Fire Emblem Awakening didn't have that, but this took it to a different level of like
Yeah.
interacting with these characters, talking with them, choosing characters and houses and who which paths you took. Like, I think it changed the way people want to interact with Fire Emblem. And so, I mean, we even like talk about how Three Hopes. I wish, man, I want a Shez amiibo so bad.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yes.
and I
And
still
it,
want that. I still want that Byleth, the first 4 figures figure.
yeah. And no knock to intelligence system, because I think they I feel like they passed the torch to a company that they could trust.
Mhm.
I think Kobe Tecmo could definitely do wonders for them for that game, and still intelligent systems work with them. I think that intelligent system really needs to do something different outside of Fire Emblem, and they do. I think they do fantastic with the Paper Mario series. I don't care what anybody say. The Paper Mario series, just the writing from intelligent systems is hilarious. Gameplay is also good, and it keeps you on your toes. You know, um, they Codename Steam also they could bring back and make it their own. Like, intelligent system has a lot of greatness to them.
Mhm.
And I really think that with this next with Nintendo's next platform, that they could give this game off to them, and Fire Emblem could exist, still being amazing and great in the hands of Kobe Tecmo, while Intelligent System could continue to make greatness somewhere else.
Mhm.
You know, like, so that's why I think for their next console, I think it's gonna be Fire Emblem.
Yeah. I mean, I would take both of those. So, I've really been itching to play Xenoblade Chronicles, and I'm trying to finish Final Fantasy VII first. And I just,
Mm-hmm.
man, playing old RPGs, if I'm not like gonna finish it within a couple weeks, like it's fallen off, man. I really need to get back to that. I really do. Um, which sucks because like I'm enjoying it for the most part, but then there's just like all this other stuff. Anyways, I guess we'll move on to our next question from our friend Todd Oxtra from Secret Friends Unite.
Shout
Also,
out to Todd.
also a Patreon producer. Thanks, Todd, for your
Yes.
support. We appreciate you more than just you being a Patreon producer. We just
Yes.
love Todd and co-op mode and Secret Friends and Holocron Chronicles and Code 47, I think, is what the Star Trek show is. Sorry, I don't watch Star Trek, so I don't listen to that show. I'm sorry. Sorry, Charlie. LaRon
That's-
does. But yeah, I just I don't say this enough to them or out loud in general, but talk about a team that's done it right and built a an audience, a community, and now they're Patreon, right? Like
yes.
they've really they've really done it right. And I want to say I'm jealous, but that sounds like I'm being mean. But like I'm I really love that what they do. I really love them so much, and I'm proud of them. So Todd, proud of you. Mark, Charlie, proud of you. Anyways, Todd's question: with 2024 most likely the last year of the Switch as a priority Nintendo console, do you think it needs an epic last release like Breath of the Wild on the Wii U?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say no for the simple fact that the Switch is so popular and has so many great games on it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think it will. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a cross-gen title, in my opinion. It also
Yeah.
depends on if the next console is backwards compatible or not, which we think it is, judging by what we heard at PAX.
And I think you just hit it on the nail, Corey. There's a crossover of that final game being on two consoles.
Mhm.
You know, being on Switch and then whatever the next one is.
Yeah,
But I don't think they need to go out with a bang
yeah,
for Switch, because I think if they were going to try to go out with a bang, they want to pass that PlayStation 2 number. They're trying to hit 157 million consoles plus.
Yeah.
Like if they can hit that number before they go out with a bang, great for them. Because if they were going to do anything like a last epic release, it's going to be a Pokemon game. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to put Mario Kart 9 or any of the actual first party stuff. They'll put some. They'll put out the companies that they work with, put something out to make it their last bang.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like so. If anything, I would put out Pokemon because I'm like, regardless of how the quality is, that's up to debate for other people. If that money's gonna go out in the bank, it's going to go out with 10 million. And if you trying to hit 10 million between two games, that's the way to do it. Be like, oh yeah, we're leaving, but we're gonna have about 600 plus 600 million plus some dollars in the account. I'm just rounding, take some here and there and stuff. But yeah, if they were gonna do that, then it would be Pokemon I would go out with. But I don't think they need anything epic. Metroid though, Metroid Prime 4 most likely probably would be the one, but I kind of feel like that it might get to a point that they move that as a launch game to their next console
Mm-hmm.
because retro has been quiet. Nintendo has told them to shut up and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think they're getting that game working. I think Nintendo and retro just like we're going underground. No one talks about this game. Shut it down, shut it up, and let's get our and let's do what we need to do. Hey, Mercury Steam, have fun with whatever you want to do with the Metro series. Make it 2D, make it look good, give us some money. But for this Prime game, retro, we're going underground, and we need no one to talk about this game. We'll talk about it when we feel like it's ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So our last question comes from the one true James via Discord. He asks, you have been caught in a saw trap. You have one attempt to speedrun any major game released for a Nintendo console, and your compete run must be fast enough to place on the leaderboard. What game are you playing? I'm dying. First of all, I'm just throwing that out there.
So,
Man.
uh, if I'm speed running and I can't, if I'm speed running and I can't do any cheats, I should say, uh, and everything, because everybody would just be like, "Well, I'm just gonna do Super Mario Brothers because that's the quickest speed run." Get to if you know the correct warp pipes and how to beat Bowser, everybody's just gonna do that and then live.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not counting, I would say Contra for NES. I could I could get through Contra within 22 minutes, without the 30-man code. So I do have some runs that I do not die until I get to the end, but I'm trying to do no die attempts and everything. I do have a stream, I think still on my old Twitch account if the video's still there. Um, but I would pick Contra 1 for it.
Hmm. I think for me, oh man, I'm trying to think here. Man, this is a hard one. I would say Mario 3 for me, I think would probably be the easiest one for me.
If you're using the whistle cheat, yeah, I would
No,
say.
I wouldn't use the warp whistle. I mean, if you the only level that would give me trouble would trying to figure out which doors to go through with the frog suit in World 3 in that one castle.
Yeah.
That's the only level that gives me problems because I never remember. But I actually am pretty confident I could probably speedrun Mario 3. pretty decently.
Yeah, I wouldn't speed run none of the Mega Man games, because most of those take an hour to get through.
Yeah.
And even if you're doing a no hit run, even if you know where the placements of enemies and stuff is at, you're not going to get through that game any quicker. It's going to be about an hour plus. And
Yeah.
try to do Flashman stage without
Flashman.
or again do those stages with the laser things coming out. Yeah, if you're not quick enough or know the correct pattern to do it, you're dead. And that's going to destroy you. And you only get one attempt. Yeah.
Yeah. I would also throw Turtles in Time in there, actually. I'm pretty confident. I mean, I used to play that game by myself on the hardest difficulty all the time, because it was fun. And the only issue would be Super Shredder at the end because he warps so fast. But I'm pretty confident I can make it.
If I was doing Turtles in Time, I'd just put it on easy. Because I'm trying to get through the game as quickly as I can. If I'm speed running, that's the game I want to try to get through quickly. So
yeah, it's sorry, yawning. That's rude. I think Turtles in Time would be one. Mario 64, I actually think I could probably do pretty quickly. Trying to think of other games that would be relatively like that. I know I could probably beat relatively quickly. Man, I don't know. There's a lot of games out there, man. There's a lot of
yeah.
Sorry, I'm just kind of going through my head now, but it's fine. Yeah, that would be my answer. But I'm dead anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm dead.
Yeah. Well, everybody,
that's it.
That's gonna be it for Nintendo Pow Block. Thank you, Corey, for joining me. Everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woo-hoo!
Goodbye. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.